Photos that are created at night have a special feel about them. The darkness in them, as well as the limited amount of light, create a mysterious and moody atmosphere. That by itself already makes this photography stand out, and if you add the factor of rain or fog to it, that just intensifies the whole feeling. A couple of days ago, out of nowhere, some fog started rolling in and created some absolutely moody conditions that I couldn't resist, and I had to grab my camera gear and go out and take advantage of this situation. And I honestly have to say that this probably was the most fun that I had shooting in probably the past year. So in today's video, I want to share my experience with you and want to show you some of the photos that I was able to take. And if you stick around to the end, I want to share 3 quick tips that help me shooting at night, and it also applies to foggy situations or scenarios. Now, it's definitely more challenging to take photos at night than it is during the day, especially if you are new to this whole concept. And the biggest factor for this is that at night you have a limited amount of light available. If you are shooting throughout the day, you have the sun as a big light source that basically illuminates everything around you and therefore gives you lots of light to work with. At night, that is definitely not the case. The light is very limited. So here are 3 quick tips that help me when I'm out shooting at night. Number one would be to use camera settings that help you get the shot. So what that means is that you gotta make sure that you know that if you, for example, hand hold your shots like I do, to keep your shutter speed to an amount to where you know you're not gonna get any motion blur in your photos by having an unsteady hand or anything like that. So I was making sure to keep my shutter speed high enough to where I wouldn't get any motion blur, but low enough to where I could keep my ISO pretty low. My aperture I kept at the lowest possible, which on this lens was f2.8, and my ISO was always set to 1250, and that one never changed. The only variable that I changed was the shutter speed, and that varied between 1/30th and 1/60th. Now what's important to mention here is that depending on the lighting scenario, your settings will always change. It always will depend on the situation that you are in. But if you're shooting on a tripod, then having blurry images is probably something that is not a big concern for you. Number two would be to look for interesting light, and that could be anything from a big lantern on a parking lot, or restaurants that have neon signs, or theaters that are always very well lit up, and you can use those to your advantage and see how does the light affect the surrounding areas and find your compositions that way. And number three would be to look for simple compositions, and that's something that's definitely important, especially for the people that are just starting out, is to not overcomplicate things. And especially when you are shooting in the fog, the simpler the photo, the bigger of an effect this whole image can create. You don't want to overcomplicate things, because that can really overwhelm you while you're out shooting and you have to deal with so many things that you have to worry about. So simplicity is a lot of the times key, especially when it comes to foggy shots. One good example is basically all the shots that I took today. They are all very simple, but because we had the fog that was intensifying all of these scenarios, it made the shot. At least that's how I feel. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and maybe for some of you guys these 3 quick tips are helpful. If that's the case, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. And all I can say is that I appreciate every single one of you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.